Warning, this podcast contains themes of extreme violence and murder. Subject matter may be offensive to some listeners. Discretion advised.
Welcome to another episode of Evil Transgression, your homicide headquarters here in podcasting. I'm Josh, and with me as always, Dustin and Rex.
What's going on?
Hey, what's up?
This is our first episode in the studio.
Yes, it is. And I would like to take a second to thank Aaron at Bulldog Builders for getting this done for us. You know, we had some hiccups, but he's taken care of me and got everything straightened out. So if anybody's looking in the Columbus area, just hit us up and I can give you the information.
Bulldog Builders.
That's right. They got a Facebook page too, so
everyone should go to their Facebook page and leave a comment like, thanks for building Evil Transgression.
That's studio. Right. They should.
They'd be like, who's this? It would be cool though. Do it. I urge everyone to do that.
Do it.
Bulldog Builders on Facebook. Right. What's up with you, man?
Oh, you know.
All right.
That's cool.
Good story.
Great
same
week.
Same old stuff.
Good story and solidness.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got something to tell us?
Yeah, we have a new Patreon.
We do.
Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Donna. I appreciate it.
Yes.
And you could be just like Donna. And we'll tell you how at the end of this episode.
We definitely will.
And don't forget, our Patreon-only episode came out.
It is out.
It did.
You're missing an episode if you're not a Patreon.
That's right.
Well, you're missing quite a few because we do Beyond Evil.
Yeah, Beyond Evil and special episode every month.
So you got like 11 episodes you could be listening to.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Like I don't think it's really that many, but
yeah, it's like
I 10 minutes
of 10 minutes of listening.
Shut up.
No, definitely some funny stuff.
Yes.
Now, if you don't know what our Beyond Evil is, it's basically a behind-the-scenes thing. It's just us talking, basically.
About stupid stuff, too. Just random craziness.
It's basically what happens before we hit the record button to do this.
Yep.
And there's no filters.
No filters.
There's not.
So don't listen to it with your children or your pastor.
Yeah, that could be bad.
Pastor and children need to leave the room. I mean, it's not terrible.
No.
But
there's a couple more cuss words, I'd say, in those than our episodes.
And we talk about crazy things.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're fun, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're usually about, 20 minutes long, I'd say, on average.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But you're missing them if you're not a patron.
That's right.
And that is through Patreon, not through
Patron.
Podbean or any of that other stuff. If you're still on that, you need to join the Patreon.
Yes.
Well, if you're still on that, you're not getting nothing.
Yeah. You're like, these guys are stupid. They never put anything out. I want to do something we did last episode that people enjoyed. And I think we should continue to do it because I liked it. I think you guys liked it. So we're going to do evil facts.
Sweet.
Let's hear them.
Yeah.
Ready for some evil facts?
Yes, I am.
How about this one? Right before Jeffrey Dahmer was caught, he had so many bodies piled up in his apartment that he actually stashed one in the bathtub, where he just stood over it every day for a month to take a shower.
What?
Yes.
That's crazy.
I'm just going to stand here and shut up. Sorry about that, Steve.
Oh, God, dude. Could you imagine the smell, too?
Stench. I mean, there's bodies all over his apartment. He's like just washing off over one.
That's insane.
What about you? Have you ever taken a shower with a grown man?
Nah.
Yes, he has.
Okay, how about this one? Ted Bundy. We all know who Ted Bundy is.
Yes.
He was said to have killed 36 people.
Al's brother.
Ironically, he once worked at a suicide hotline where his job was to talk people out of killing themselves.
Really?
Yeah, because they wanted him to save it for him.
So Ted Bundy worked at a suicide prevention hotline.
Huh, I did not know that.
Little irony there, isn't it?
Yeah, no kidding.
John Wayne Gacy's wife, Carol, who lived in the same house as him, where he buried all his victims in the crawl space, well, most of his victims in the crawl space, questioned her husband one time about the smell. He told her it was mice, like dead mice. She believed him and never asked again.
Wow.
I mean, and you want to talk about a smell?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's multiple victims under your house, and it stinks. He's like, what's that smell? Oh, it's a dead mouse. She's like, all right, then.
I can't believe she went for that. Wow.
So that is your evil facts.
I like them.
We got plenty more. I like them.
Me too.
So we'll continue to do these.
Yes.
So, you guys ready to dive into this episode today?
I am.
Well,
Let's do it.
I'm not sensing your enthusiasm.
Do you ever?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, dude.
So buckle up, Evil Mob, as we discuss Gary Gene Grant. Gary Gene Grant was born in Renton, Washington on June 29th, 1951. Renton, Washington is a suburb of Seattle. That's in case you were wondering, Dustin.
I wasn't.
I was.
Yeah, I knew somebody would be wondering.
I cared.
Not me.
His parents were low-skilled laborers, and the family was very poor. The family lived in a mobile home on the outskirts of the city and had many financial problems. Gary's mother was an alcoholic, and this caused many problems between his parents. They often fought in front of Gary, and this would have a lasting effect on him.
Oh, I bet.
Unable to focus on his schoolwork, Gary struggled in school. By the mid-1960s, Gary would drop out of school and sign up for the Army. He was accepted into the Army but assigned to the Navy. Now, I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Like, you just sign up for the armed forces and they'll put you wherever they need you? Or, again, we're in the 60s.
Right.
They might have back then. I don't know.
I don't think they do that now. But
No.
because Gary Grant, being a loner and quite the outcast, he was bullied almost immediately after joining the service.
Was he like a small, skinny dude too, or?
He may have been,
Yeah.
but he was just an odd dude.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the bullying, Grant began to develop signs of mental illness. He was dismissed from the Army a few months after joining, citing health reasons. Upon his release, Gary Grant returned to his hometown in Renton, Washington. Trouble would follow. On the evening of December 15th, 1969, 19-year-old culinary arts student Carol Adele Erickson was walking home from the Renton Municipal Library. She was walking along a dirt road that ran parallel to the Cedar River. Gary Grant crossed her path. Grant would stab Erickson to death and drag her body into the nearby bushes where he had sex with her corpse.
Wow.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
He's one of those.
Yes.
Necrophiliac.
Mm-hmm.
It's common serial killer stuff there.
Characteristics.
Yeah. Like psychopath.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it is.
Afterwards, he physically abused the corpse and left multiple cuts on Carol Erickson's neck.
Why? What's the point?
Do we know how these people think?
No.
Gary Grant would lay low for almost a year. On September 20th, 1970, Grant attacked 17-year-old Joanne Mary Zuloff in the middle of the day. Gary Grant hit Zuloff over the head with a rock and dragged her body into the woods where he raped her and strangled her.
Wow.
He then removed a wristwatch from her body and took it with him.
So now he's taking souvenirs.
But there's a reason he's going to take this souvenir. Her body was found on September 22nd, 1970. So 2 days later. 4 days later, Gary Grant gave his girlfriend the wristwatch he had taken off Zolof's body as a gift for her birthday.
Unbelievable.
What a creep.
Yeah.
That is a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, exactly.
Here you go. I just so happened to have found you a used wristwatch.
Yeah.
Like, there's no red flags there.
No, not at all.
What a guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, Grant would lay low for a while. On April 20th, 1971, two 6-year-old boys, Scott Andrews and Bradley Lyons, were playing outside. Now, I don't like talking about a dude that does stuff like this to children.
Right.
They were approached by none other than Gary Grant. Grant threatened the boys with a knife and led them into the woods just over a mile from where Bradley Lyons' home was. So he basically takes them knife point and leads them just over a mile away from the house they were playing at. Like, that's surprising to me. Like, leading two 6-year-old boys away with a knife and nobody like spots anything.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Because that's a good distance to take somebody of night, especially 6-year-olds.
A mile?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once in the woods, Gary Grant began physically assaulting the boys. He would eventually stab Scott Andrews to death before strangling Bradley Lyons. After killing both of the boys, Gary Grant covered their bodies with tree branches and leaves. The boys' bodies were discovered 2 days later on April 22nd, 1971. At the crime scene, investigators discovered shoe prints. Plaster casts were taken of the prints.
I hope you tell me he gets put to death.
I feel like there's going to be more before that happens.
Maybe. Or maybe he messed up.
Uh-oh.
During this time, John Chance, a mentally unstable Army veteran, wandered into a local hospital seeking self-admission for psychiatric trouble. Following a full examination, it wasn't long before paranoid schizophrenic tendencies began to appear, such as Chance claiming to be a son of the planet Saturn and having met none other than Jesus Christ outside nearby Tillicum, Washington.
Wow.
He's a little bit on the crazy side.
Yeah.
I'm the son
Just
of
a little
Saturn, and I've met Jesus.
What's that even mean?
I don't know.
The son of Saturn.
He thinks he's the son of a planet.
Whatever.
That's what paranoid schizophrenic tendencies are.
Yeah.
So while, there's two dead boys
Yep.
and an investigation going on, and now this crazy guy wanders into a mental hospital, basically, and tells him he's the son of Saturn and he has met Jesus Christ. Chance also had detailed knowledge of the murders of the two boys, knowledge that immediately placed him on detectives' radar. Within days of his appearing on the scene, he was arraigned. So he's being charged for this crime. Now, the knowledge is what I'm assuming to be things that he has picked up on the news or through the newspapers, what have you, about these two boys.
Yeah.
But he basically comes in and admits to, not so much admits to it, but gives details of these murders, and they're like, well, we got our guy. But more leads would surface. On April 28th, 1971, investigators searching the area for more clues found a hunting knife with dried blood on the blade. This was about 50 yards from where the bodies were found. The blood on the knife matched that of Scott Andrews. On the blade of the knife was an engraved name, Tom Evenson. You guys are like, who's Tom Evenson?
Yes, I'd like to know.
Wouldn't we all like to know who Tom Evenson
You're
is?
going to tell us, right?
The police quickly found and brought Evenson in for questioning. He claimed to have sold the knife to his friend, Jerry Triplett. And again, you guys are going
I'm like, who's Jerry?
Who's Jerry Triplett?
Tell us
You're
all
throwing
about
out way too many names right now.
The following day, Jerry Triplett was brought in for questioning, and he claimed that he had also sold the knife to one of his friends named Jim Monger.
Who is Jim?
This is remember us talking about the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty much where we're at. We went from Tom Evenson to Jerry Triplett, from Jerry Triplett to Jim Monger.
Crazy.
So what do? We bring in Jim Monger.
Did you make this story up?
No. So the police had to track down old Jim Monger. This time, when Jim Monger was brought in for questioning, he told the investigators that he had actually loaned the knife to one of his friends. This friend was none other than Gary Gene Grant himself.
Oh, okay.
Finally, where we started.
Yeah.
On April 30th, 1971, police took a 19-year-old Gary Grant in for questioning. He was unable to provide an alibi for the day that the boys were murdered. He claimed it was because he suffered from amnesia. That sounds convincing to me, so we must have the wrong guy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't know what I was doing. I got the amnesia.
They actually say a lot of serial killers do have that.
Well, it's more of a...
It's put on.
Well, some of it's put on, and some of it might... Like, if you go through a traumatic experience, a lot of times, like, as a child, they say you can, like, mentally block it out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's how some people end up with multiple personalities, you know?
Right?
What's his name? Arthur Shawcross?
Sure.
He was a serial killer, but that was his big thing.
No kidding.
Oh, I don't remember it that way.
I don't remember it happening like
It
that.
didn't happen that way.
Now, I don't know if this is the case here, because the detectives pressed a little bit harder, and Gary Grant burst into tears and confessed to the killings. And the mentally unstable Army veteran John Chance was off the hook. So they did have an innocent guy locked up. He should have been locked up in a mental institution.
Yeah, son of Saturn.
To get him some help, but he was off the hook for this because Gary Grant was like, it was me. The following day, in the presence of his lawyer and his father, Gary Grant confessed to all 4 murders he had committed and told how he had done each one. On a wild side note here, the police captain for the Renton Police Department, William G. Frazee, had secretly installed recording devices in the interrogation room. That is illegal. You cannot do that.
Right.
They all recorded?
You have to let them know you're recording.
Yeah. But, hey, you know how they work. I mean, all the time they tap people's phones and everything else without telling people, so I'm not surprised.
The devices recorded Gary Grant's confession, but because this was against the law, Grant's lawyers filed a motion to drop all the charges against Grant, claiming that his constitutional rights had been violated.
I knew that was going to happen.
However, on June 30th, 1971, the appeal was rejected due to the fact that Gary Grant's confession was witnessed by several detectives and had been obtained by a legal audio recording done on the same day of the arrest.
Oh, nice.
So they had a backup.
Good deal.
Well, you also lose all rights when you murder kids.
True.
In our eyes. Absolutely.
Yeah. You have no rights.
But that's not how the world works.
That's how it works in my eyes.
That exactly what I said. In our eyes, that's how it works. You kill a kid, we're going to kill you back.
If you kill a kid or if you harm a child,
Yes.
then you have no rights.
None.
Then they should take you out and shoot you in the middle of your forehead.
Yeah.
Ooh.
definitely.
I mean, you're passionate about that.
Yes.
You should be. I feel I have the same feelings. Police Captain William Frazee was, however, charged with wiretapping and suspended from the police force. He would later resign. On August 12, 1971, trial began for Gary Grant. Along with his recorded confession, the legal one, the blood-stained knife and the imprints of his tennis shoes were presented as evidence. Gary Grant was actually wearing the same shoes when he was arrested that matched the exact tread and size of the molds made at the scene of the two boys' murders.
Nice.
What a dumbass.
Several witnesses came forward placing Gary Grant near the scene of the crimes, basically saying, oh, we saw him, he was over that way around that time, you know. So he's guilty as all get out.
Good.
His defense team insisted that Gary Grant was mentally ill, claiming insanity, and demanded leniency for their client. His own father testified on his behalf, claiming that since childhood, Gary was a passive and harmless individual. The defense attorneys insisted that a psychiatric exam take place. Based on the results of this exam, Gary Grant was found to be sane, although the psychiatrist noted that Gary was very impulsive and he had often had problems controlling himself in high-stress situations. I don't think any of that is an excuse to murder kids.
No, not at all.
No.
Or an adult.
Right.
I mean, he did kill two, young women.
Yeah.
They were teens, but...
I mean, he's only, 19 himself?
Yeah. I mean, we're not talking about a 50-year-old man here.
Right.
And that's another thing that I don't understand that we do is, well, are they crazy? Well, shit, yeah, they're crazy. They killed people.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, I don't know any non-crazy person that's like, I'm going to kill someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because you run into so many different things. Like, does he have this wrong with him? Does he have this wrong with him? Does he have this wrong? Like, there's too much, whatever the word I'm looking for. There's just too many other things that they can say is wrong with them. You get any of that?
No.
Because, you just called him crazy. To somebody else, you saying crazy, you're a piece of shit. You shouldn't say he's crazy. Say he's mentally unstable.
Oh, he's mentally ill.
I didn't know you were going PC on us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, hey, if they've listened to any episodes, they know that we're the furthest from PC. You're right. I will get hate for this, but
you will.
I mean,
we did get in trouble for calling them prostitutes, even though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're sex workers.
Yeah. Anyway.
So he's not crazy. He's just mentally unstable. Sorry, guys. But to me, it's all crazy.
Cray.
Now, let me clarify, because now you put a giant-ass spotlight on it. I understand that there's mental illness. I understand mental illness is a real thing. I understand that there's a huge problem with mental illness in the United States and in the world.
Right.
I understand that, and I think it needs to be addressed. It's clear that it needs to be addressed, and there's thousands of things going on every day in our world and on our news that shows that there are mentally ill people out there, that we no longer call them mentally ill. We accept it and think it's normal, but that's another story.
Yeah.
However, to me, if you have something mentally wrong with you to where you kill people, that shouldn't even be a factor.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you killed somebody. We're either going to put you to death or we're going to put you away for life. I don't care if you need to see a psychiatrist to argue this point, because it's all the same. You did the crime, pay the price.
Yep.
You're looking at me like,
I agree.
You're so wrong.
I agree.
The first email I get is going to be from you. Yeah. You're mean.
No, I'm saying you know how I feel. I'm saying what other people say. That's why.
You're right.
You know.
Yeah. and you put a giant spotlight on it just so we'll
Thank you.
get canceled.
But I don't care.
Us and Dave Chappelle's going to be hanging out next week.
Yeah,
Right.
well, this is our podcast, so we can say whatever the hell we want.
That's true.
The psychiatrist also suggested that Grant's crimes were his way of escaping reality and used as a way to vent his frustrations at unresolved personal issues. Well, I don't think you needed to be a psychiatrist to say that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could have figured that out at my kitchen table.
Right.
Right? I mean, it's got some unresolved personal issues. And I didn't even have to go to medical school for a long time for that. On August 25th, 1971, Gary Grant was found guilty on all counts and was sentenced to 4 life sentences without the chance of parole.
Nice.
Justice was not served.
Well, his mental illness is what kept him out of the chair. Since his conviction, Gary Grant has spent his time in various penitentiaries across the entire state of Washington.
Do you know why?
Why?
No, I'm asking. Do you know why?
Do you know why?
Why he's transferred to all these different prisons? Is it because he's a horrible inmate, or?
It doesn't say. He currently resides at the Monroe Correctional Complex in Monroe, Washington. He is 70 years old.
Because if they just put him to death, they wouldn't have to worry about moving him.
Yeah.
True.
But I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of different things that factor into him being moved. It was probably to get the mental care he needed and all that stuff that comes along with it. Plus, like you said, he's 70 years old.
Yep.
That is the story of Gary Grant.
Crazy.
Killed 4 people, but he did get 4 life sentences for it. So, I mean, he is locked up.
Right.
And a lot of people say being locked up for life is a lot worse than putting him to death. But
Yeah.
He also has probably the biggest face I've ever seen in my life.
the biggest face.
Yes.
Yeah,
You just looked him up.
Look how big that face is.
Wow.
That's a big old face.
It is.
That's all big face Gary Grant.
Look at that thing.
It's a long face. It's like if you shaved his head,
a long face.
yeah. If you shaved his head, he'd look like a cone head. Like
He would.
it is an extremely long face.
We'll post a picture of Mr. Longface.
Long face Gary Grant.
I like it.
If we have a webpage, because Dustin's going to get us canceled.
That's right.
So what do you got for me, Rex?
All right. If you haven't done so, go to our Facebook page, give us a like. Any comments, questions, ideas, you can email us at eviltransgression@gmail.com. Dustin?
Go to eviltransgression.com and pre-order a hat, because we have hats now.
Finally.
Ooh. Yeah, you said that. How do they do that?
You go to eviltransgression.com. You hit the 3 lines up at the top corner. It'll say pre-order. Click on that, and boom.
So the menu button. Like, that's how a lot of people. The 3 lines at the top of the screen is the menu.
All right, well, the menu button. But then once you pre-order it, you have to tell me the color you want, which is black and white or all black, and your address. Or
I thought you was going to put up a picture of these hats
I
to
did.
show them.
I did.
You did?
Yeah,
Huh.
they're out there.
Well, maybe I just didn't pay attention.
So if you order a hat and you don't give me your address, I'm just going to assume you bought it for me, and I'm going to wear it.
Nice.
So
Well, I see somebody having to work out the details on this, and that's why you're in charge of it. All I know is it took me like 7 months to get my hat
shut up.
Right.
because you wouldn't get them ordered.
And we have Patreon only episode, so join Patreon
Yep.
today.
Yeah, not tomorrow.
Yeah, not tomorrow, today.
There's actually a sale going on today as you're listening to this. It's the same price it always is. It's on sale today. Like you can buy it.
Yeah, you can.
What about you?
I have nothing
That's good.
Good.
other than going to eviltransgression.com. Sending us pictures of you in your evil transgression gear. Is that what our show's called? Evil Transgression?
Yes.
Yeah. Send us pictures of you in your gear so we can put it up in the faces of the evil mob on eviltransgression.com.
And then,
Because I know a lot of you guys have stuff, but you haven't sent us pictures.
and for every picture you send, we will send one back of Dustin in a banana hammock.
And everyone wants to see that.
Not me. That's why my picture's not on there.
I don't even want to see that myself.
Oh, man.
So until next time,
See ya.
See ya.
peace.